Lord Ramchandra's reputation for having killed Ravana with showers of arrows at the request of the demigods, and for having built a bridge over the ocean, does not constitute the factual glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramchandra, whose spiritual body is always engaged in various pastimes. Lord Ramchandra has no equal or superior, and therefore he had no need to take help from the monkeys to gain victory over Ravana. Purport. As stated in the Vedas, Svetashvatara Upanishad, Natasya karyam karanam chavidyate, natat samaschabhyadikascha drishyate, parasya shaktir vividhaiva shruyate, sabhaviki jnana balakriyacha. The Supreme Lord has nothing to do, and no one is found to be equal to or greater than him. For everything is done naturally and systematically by his multifarious energies. The Lord has nothing to do, natasya karyam karanam chavidyate. Whatever he does is his pastime. The Lord has no duty to perform to oblige anyone. Nonetheless, he appears to act to protect his devotees or kill his enemies. Of course, no one can be the Lord's enemy, since who could be more powerful than the Lord? There's actually no question of anyone's being his enemy. But when the Lord wants to take pleasure in pastimes, he comes down to this material world and acts like a human being, thus showing his wonderful, glorious activities to please the devotees. His devotees always want to see the Lord victorious in varied activities, and therefore, to please himself and them, the Lord sometimes agrees to act as a human being and perform wonderful, uncommon pastimes for the satisfaction of the devotees. Om Jnanatimidandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Shahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Shadvaitam Shavadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vancha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripasindhobhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nedam Yasho Raghupate Surayachnayata Leela Tanur Adhika Samya Vimukta Dhamna Raksho Vidho Jaladhi Bandhanam Astrapu Gai Kim Tasya Shatru Hanane Kapaya Sahaya. The first point Srila Prabhupada makes is that the personality of Godhead has nothing to do, no duty in the Bhagavad Gita. What is that? Name karma pales praha. What's the beginning? Name partasti kartavyam. I have no prescribed duty. He's the personality of Godhead. He's independent. He can do what he likes. There's no one to prescribe, sir, you must do this, you must do that. Do what he likes. We like independence. We have tiny independence, and we're very fond of it. The personality of Godhead has unlimited, absolute independence. Our independence is conditional, limited, and if we try to exercise full independence, we get more entangled, more complicated, we lose more freedom. And therefore we have to act within limits. But the personality of Godhead is unlimited. He can do as he likes. Natasya karyam. So there's no duty prescribed for him. Trishu lokeshu kinchana. In the three worlds, he has there's no duty prescribed for him. So what he does is what he wants to do. Srila Prabhupada mentions at the end that he carried out his activities to please himself and to please the devotees. The Lord is full of pleasure, and he has a natural tendency to please himself and please his devotees. He acts for his own pleasure. Again, we act for our own pleasure and we get in trouble because it's unconstitutional. We're meant to act for the satisfaction of the whole. The part is not meant to act for its own aggrandizement, its own satisfaction. The hand is not meant to feed itself. It's meant to feed the stomach. And when it feeds the stomach, then hand also gets fed and feels happy. So we please ourselves best when we act for the pleasure of the Lord, not when we act for our own pleasure. And that's the secret of happiness. The materialists have created a huge civilization for their own happiness, and the result is that they make themselves miserable, individually and collectively. Because it's just not what we're meant to do, not what we're fit to do. When we act for Krishna's pleasure, then automatically we feel pleasure. But Krishna constitutionally acts for his own pleasure. It's his nature. He can do whatever he likes simply for his own pleasure. That's what it means, supreme enjoyer. We have that. Bhokta cha, prabhureva cha. He's the Lord and he's the enjoyer. Enjoyer means he can do what he likes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. Yata tata bhavidadati. You can do whatever you like, because that's your constitutional position. So the Lord is the enjoyer, but he enjoys by giving pleasure to his devotees. The Lord is not just a selfish enjoyer, let me enjoy at the expense of all others. He naturally has a loving nature, and we also have sometimes a loving nature. It's originally coming from Krishna. So Krishna has love for his devotees and wants to please them. The devotees want to please Krishna. Krishna wants to please the devotees. This is the dynamic of the spiritual world, the pleasure dynamic of the spiritual world, the competition of the spiritual world. The more the Lord tries to please the devotees, the more the devotees try to please the Lord. And therefore, anandam buddhibhardhanam. It's always increasing, always increasing, always increasing. There's no limit to the expansion of Krishna's pleasure. And the devotees are part of that. They participate in Krishna's pleasure, which means they also enjoy. Krishna's in the business of pleasing his devotees. And the materialists exclude themselves from that, and they try to find pleasure independently, and therefore it doesn't work, and they're frustrated. Natasya karyam karanam vidyate, and natat samascha vyadikastra drishyate. This is the definition of God. No one is equal to him, no one is greater than him. If there were someone greater than God, he would be God. And if there were someone else equal to God, then what does it mean to be God? Supreme. If everyone is supreme, then supremacy has no meaning. Supreme means there have to be subordinates. And ultimately, supreme means everyone else has to be subordinate. So, natat samascha vyadikastra drishyate. In the Bhagavad Gita also, the same thing is found. And we might even find it if we find our book. Which maybe didn't make it into here, now that I think about it. Okay, I'll take it. Send it over. In the 11th chapter, we find Yeah. What verse is that? Yeah, that's the word, but there's a verse. 1143. Sounds like a good number. And in fact, it's the right number. Thank you. Natvat samo asti abhyadika kuto anyaha. Tvamasya pujasya guru guriyan natvat samostya abhyadika kutonyo. My dear Krishna, natvat samaha asti. No one is equal to you. And abhyadika kuta anyaha. And therefore, who could be better? No one's even equal. To say nothing of better, no one's even equal to you. No one's even equal to you. What to speak of being better? Natvat samostya vyadika kutonyo. So this is the definition of God. Asamordva, asama, urdva. Urdva means higher, and sama means equal. No one is equal to God, no one is greater than God. Sometimes the Mayavadi theory is there we're all God. Then what's the meaning of God? It's like we're all Prime Minister. deep and profound. We're all Prime Minister, but it doesn't mean anything. Prabhupada gives the argument, even if we take it that we're all God, still there's a hierarchy. Some of the gods are stronger than some of the other gods. Some are stronger, some are wealthier, some are more beautiful, some are more smart. And then you get a gradation of higher gods and lower gods. And then the highest God is Krishna, because no one is equal to him. And what to speak of being greater than him. Parasya Shaktir Vibhidhaiva Shruyate. And everything is made possible by the workings of his transcendental energy. He has various potencies. Again, if you speak of Prime Minister or President or King, he's somebody who has capabilities. Without capability, you're nothing. The king has powers. If you strip away his powers, the king is nothing. The king is a thing. So the personality of Godhead, we all have some power, but the personality of Godhead has the most power and the most powers and in the greatest degree. And that's God. And Svabhavaki Jnana Balakriyacha. The energies just do everything automatically. Did you ever wonder about that when you were a kid, how God runs the world? Those of you who were pious enough to think that there was God, did you ever wonder, or even those of you who thought, well, what are these people thinking when they're God? How does he run the world? What does he do? Sit and push buttons all day? Pull strings? Yeah, how does he run things? If he's the supreme controller, how does he control? Giant console. So the explanation is given in Vedic literature that he has unlimited potencies, and the potencies know what he wants to do. They know what he wants, and they do it automatically. They don't have to be told, now you do this, now you smash this guy, now make him king, now do this, now do that. They know what to do. Now make the earth turn around, now make the sun go in its orbit. Krishna doesn't have to waste his time with that. Even in your own body, you don't have to say to the blood, flow. You don't have to do that. You don't have to tell the nerves to fire, the blood to flow, the lungs to pump. They do that automatically. And in response to your desires also. When you want to scratch your head, then all these muscles have to do things and nerves have to do things. All these things have to come into play. But you don't think, okay, nerve number 742, we need this many units of power. Just automatically. When you want something, all the different energies in your body are mobilized to accomplish that, as far as it's within your power. Now Krishna also, he doesn't have to think, now I have to do this, now I have to do that. Oh yeah, the Mercury has to... No. His potencies do everything. Under his control. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sarachara. Under his supervision, nature is acting. But he's such a good manager that he doesn't have to micromanage. Everything is going on by his capabilities. So, Nedam Yasho Raghupate Surayachnayata. Lord Ramchandra is famous for having killed Ravana with his arrows in order to meet the request of the demigods. He's famous for having built a bridge to Lanka. The monkeys threw stones in the water, and Lord Ramchandra floated them by his mystic power. That was an extraordinary accomplishment. So Lord Ramchandra's famous for that. But the statement here is that these are small things for the personality of Godhead. Raksha Vidha, killing the demons, building the bridge, showering Ravana with arrows and killing him. This is all small stuff for him. And the monkeys were helping him. He didn't need help from the monkeys. He could have done it himself. Listen, monkeys, get out of here. I'm the personality of Godhead. I'll do it, all right? Go. He doesn't need a batch of monkeys. But because they're his devotees, he gave them the opportunity. Come on, let's have some fun. Let's do something. Let's have an adventure. The Lord comes and performs adventurous pastimes, and he says to the devotees, come on, you also take part. And then he likes to give the credit to the devotees that Hanuman so gloriously found Sita and jumped over to Lanka and set fire to the place and led the monkey army. Arjuna led the charge of the battle of Kurukshetra and defeated so many demons. He gives credit to his devotees. That's Krishna's nature. So these pastimes have been described in these chapters, the wonderful pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. But in one sense, what is wonderful for the personality of Godhead? Everything about him is wonderful, and he does everything by his own transcendental pleasure. Well, that's being described here. And maybe I'll stop and see what questions there might be.